Hello and good evening. This is the first of, I hope, many of our speakeasies, and we are the Compassionate Chingonas Speaking Our Truth. Our first topic that I chose was death, and I know that's a little odd, but it'll reveal itself shortly. First of all, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this speaking journey of our truth. Cynthia Ruiz, also known as Line Mother, Lorraine Martinez Cook, and myself, Jennie Estrada, also known as Sister Weeping Willow. We are the Compassionate Chingonas Speaking Our Truth. Why start our first speakeasy with death? Is death not the end? Or it may be a transition to something different. First, I want to honor all those who have crossed over from this pandemic and also those who have crossed over this past year because of other circumstances. This unsettling times have left many families unable to grieve their loved ones, leaving guilt, regret, and a great void in its aftermath. One thing I feel in my heart is those who crossed over were not alone. They were accompanied by the Creator and their ancestors. Even a damn pandemic can change that. Trust me when I say having a loved one cross over is very painful. The thought of never speaking to them, seeing them, touching them, smelling them is sometimes too much to bear. But are we grieving for them or for ourselves? I believe and have had my loved ones come to me in sleep time. I welcome their visits. Once I have completed my mind process and they have completed their transition, they let me know they are fine and free. What a beautiful feeling that has been. I have processed my brother, my father, and dear friends who I have loved that way. But thinking about death, these words came to me: regrets, guilt, shame, darkness, being alone. But the opposite of those words are so beautiful because the opposite of regrets is happiness, guilt is innocence, shame is pride and glory, darkness is beautiful light, being alone is being content or having joy. We have a choice to either make a beautiful memory of those who have crossed over or to allow darkness to take away their beautiful light. And we do have that choice. Now I'm going to turn this conversation over to my beautiful sisters for their thoughts and their wisdom. Okay, my darling Lorraine.
Yeah, thank you, Jennie. Thank you. Yeah, death is difficult to talk about. And I believe that in our society that we have detached from the natural world and we no longer see death as natural. And, in our society, and I say that for our society because there are other societies that see death different. In our society, we tend to make a war with death, or we tend to feel that we need to defeat it, or that it's the enemy. And we land up not respecting it and mocking it or sweeping it under the rug, or it's a taboo subject that we shouldn't talk about. And I feel like it is due its respect. Because when we do that as a people, we're really disguising our fear. And a lot of people I talk to will say, I'm not afraid to die. But when a relative or a loved one is ill or is in danger, I see the fear of death in their eyes for fear of losing their loved ones. And so I feel that this is a really important topic to talk about. And I believe that when we start to respect the power of death, because it is very powerful, death brings uncertainty, it brings change, it brings sorrow and grief, it brings pain, it brings us to our knees, that it is the common ground for all living beings and living creatures because we all die. Every single one of us as humans die, animals die, plants die, galaxies die. They say that when every sunset, the sun dies. At the end of a moon cycle, the moon dies. It's part of our regenerative it's just a natural regenerative cycle that we should honor. And I'll leave it at that. And I'll pass the baton over to Miss Cynthia.
Thank you so much, Lorraine. And I agree. We don't respect death. We don't talk about it. And so as a result, it creates fear of the unknown. But I, like you, also feel that it's a natural part of life. Each and every one of us enter this world with an expiration date. The key is that we never know when it's going to be, but we all make our transition. And I think it's really how you look at death. I don't see death as a stop and ending. I see it as a transition into the non-physical world. And I have had the honor of actually holding my aunt's hand, two aunts. One was my biological aunt and the other one was an adopted aunt, holding their hands as they took their last breath. And so to me, I felt that that was very sacred. Now, I first started talking about death way back in the day when I was in college. I took a class and the teacher asked us to write our own like headstone, our tombstone, and what do we want to be remembered as? So at a very early age, I came to grips with death and realized that by knowing that there's death, it helps me live my life today. And I personally am grieving because there's two parts of death, the actual person that dies, but then the aftermath of that and the grieving part. And so I had a very dear friend of mine that we were close for 25 years. Today would have been her 58th birthday. She just made her transition yesterday. So I'm glad that we're going to be talking about grieving next week. And with that, it's just an honor to talk about this subject. And I'm going to turn it back over to Jennie.
And we want to say thank you, and we hope you join us next week, and we will continue on the part of grieving. So stay healthy, stay safe, enjoy your week. Many blessings. See you later. Bye-bye.